right, we welcome you into the Hometown Sports Huddle on this Wednesday. Dave Walls here, Zach Card over that side. There he is. Hello, everybody. A little bit warmer in the studio today, so please forgive the lack of a jacket. I mean, I'm still got the tie on, but I'm not going to lie. It's a struggle right now. It's a little toasty out there, so I should not be complaining. But, Zach, wow, what a day in sports we've had. We've got NBA trades to talk about, which you just hit me to because I was on air when it happened. But first, I think we all want to talk about what's going on in the World Cup. Of course, U.S. men play tonight. We're going to talk all about that. But first, I think we have to talk about the action that's already happened today. England and Congo had a classic match today, and raise your hand if you thought that would be a close classic match. And if you have your hand up, you're probably lying. And then even Belgium today in a wild one. First, let's talk about England and Congo. Of course, we work an afternoon shift. You get to come in, during the afternoon. And I figured, hey, I can watch a little of this over lunch. And I don't think I had sat down with a soft drink yet before Congo scores in the 7th minute of action. Zach, first of all, Congo's playing the first 20 minutes. It was 1-0. It could have bbeen much more. They had England really on the ropes in this one.
Yeah, very on the ropes. Early on, they scored super quickly, like you said. Brian Sapenga finishes it for the Congolese. And, yeah, they were just on the back foot. English were on the back foot pretty much the whole game from that point. They had a lot of the momentum just trying to break down that Congolese defense, and it didn't happen until deep into the second half when their captain, who didn't have a particularly great game up until that point, Harry Kane, scores 2 goals.
Yeah.
And with 20 minutes left to go in the match, 15 minutes left to go in the match, depending on stoppage time. But he really steps up to the plate as England's captain and puts himself right into that mix for the Golden Boot.
Yeah. Kane, I thought, was interesting because near the end of the first half, he gets taken down in the box. Referee says signals no penalty. Some of the members of the media thought it should have been. I thought it was I wouldn't have called it, but I can see why it would have been called. And again, England, everybody was rocked in that first half, and they were really on their back heel. England's goaltender, there was kind of a softish goal that he left in. You don't really leave that inside post, available on those kicks. But I thought he came back with a couple good saves because Congo missed some opportunities. Jude Bellingham did not have a good first half at all. And honestly, it was the second half where England finally came back and said, okay, this is what we got to do, and leave it up to Kane. The header was beautiful, but that strike in the 85th or so minute, I wish I could show it to you. That was a sensational strike. And what does it say about the resolve of Kane in particular, who seems to ride this wave? He has great games, and then when he has a little bit of a down game, people are all over him and just comes. I mean, there were people at half on Twitter calling for him to be benched and to shake up the lineup and do something, and he came back and wow, 2 amazing goals to put them into the round of 16. I mean, what can you say about Kane in particular?
I mean, he's been doing it his whole career. He's into his 30s now, and for the last decade or so, we've seen this. He can have a bad first half, but then come out in the second half and really explode. We saw 2 goals today, and that's kind of who he is. He forgets the last play really easily and can just go out and deliver when he needs to. He doesn't let the pass get to him too much. He's got a short memory, that goldfish memory that so many people talk about. He's one of those types of people that you can make a couple mistakes early on, but he'll just brush it off and is firing later on in the game.
Yeah. So now my question for you is, so I've been out of the office for the last 2 days, but I've been watching, and it looks like we're getting a lot of the same faces who are advancing, through the knockout so far. I mean, we've got England through, we've got Brazil through, but I mean, we've already had a couple big upsets. Germany going home, the Netherlands going home, teams that aren't used to losing in the first round of knockouts. And then I don't know that really, I think the only powerhouses that have looked strong every game so far are France and maybe Argentina. It's wishy-washy there, but France is literally the only team I feel like in this World Cup that 100% has been full speed. So, I mean, what does it say about, I think the concern we had when, all these extra teams were coming into the World Cup and we have a round of 32 now instead of going right into the round of 16 was, the play is going to be diluted. It's going to be, amateur level, in the World Cup. Far from it. I mean, this action has been exciting, and, teams like the Congo, like Cape Verde have really stepped up, and these traditional powerhouses are getting matchups I don't think they expected.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. I'll freely admit I was wrong going into this tournament. I thought that expanding the field and expanding the knockout stage would dilute the product and make for some boring or less entertaining bad games, and I was just wrong. And I'll own up to that mistake on my part. Every game in this knockout stage has been incredible, starting from South Africa and Canada on Sunday to we have the Brazil-Japan near upset where Japan almost beats Brazil. Then Paraguay-Germany go to pens.
Yeah.
Upset for Germany, who has not had great success in the last decade or so in the World Cup. Netherlands and Morocco goes to pens. Morocco has been a team in recent World Cups has been rising and rising steadily. Third place or a semifinals finished in the last World Cup. So they're consistently rising, but like you said, Netherlands not expecting to go out early in this round. And then yesterday it continued. Norway and Ivory Coast gave us some great games with Holland, another great goal scorer that we're seeing the stars come out to play. And then France, like you said, have just looked incredible all tournament long. They've had maybe one first half where it was a little wavering, but then they came out in the second half of that game and put 4 on them.
Yeah.
So it's just been incredible for France to watch. If you want to watch a very good team play soccer very well, then you want to watch the French team play.
Without question.
And then last night with Mexico and Ecuador, another great match from that one. And then today, some great matches too, like discussing.
We got to talk about the one that's still going on right now with Belgium. They are down 2-0, and now this is one I've only seen the stat sheet of because guess what? We have news shows to do. But Belgium comes back and forces extra time, which at last check is where we are. I didn't want to be rude and start going on, checking for the latest score, but I'm going to do it now. But what can you tell me from what you have seen? I know you've had work to do as well, but we are still in extra time, and it looks like we're going to PKs here because they are 120 plus 1 right now.
Yeah, I've got it down here to my side, so I apologize for looking down so often. But yeah, it's 2-2 right now. They were just going after a penalty check to see if Belgium deserved a penalty. Does not look. Oh, they have given it, so there will be a Belgian penalty with essentially no time to go. If they make it, they'll win the game. If they miss it, then we'll go into the penalty shootout. But this game's been incredible. Senegal took an early lead in this one. 2 quick, or not exactly quick goals, but they got a quick one 30 or 25 minutes in the first half hour from Diarra, and then they scored again by Sarr to make it 2 goals early in that second half. And then 2 big-time subs came on for Belgium. Romelu Lukaku came on at halftime, and then Meunier came on for De Kuyper, and Meunier was able to assist Lukaku to get that first goal back for Belgium. So 2 super subs right there linking up to at least get back in the game, and then later on, Leandro Trossard sends in a cross for Yuri Tielemans, excuse me, I think I butchered his first name, but Tielemans for a nice header got over the goalkeeper somehow. You could argue goalkeeper missed his punch out to get the ball outside of the box, but either way, great goal, and it sends us to extra time. We'll see. Everyone is huddling around the penalty spot right now, so as soon as we have some movement there, we'll talk more about that. But yeah, it's just been an incredible game.
I think we're all doing the same thing right now, like looking and then we're back, looking and then we're back. One more thing before we take a break, and when we come back, we'll of course talk about the U.S. men. The play of African teams in this World Cup has been really outstanding because you've sensed it building over the years because there hasn't been a lot of, they've gotten to a certain point but then haven't really advanced into the deeper rounds. Morocco really went far, in the last World Cup. But here, we have Congo nearly beating England, making it to the knockouts. Cape Verde is there right now. Senegal, all these African teams. What's the next? I'm not really sure what the question is here, but I think it deserves some comment to talk about the rise of African ball because, with the deeper fields, we're getting to see much more of the African style in this World Cup, and it's been really exciting to watch.
Yeah, and it's been growing over the past couple of years. We've seen it. I believe Morocco was the first African nation to make it to the semifinals of the World Cup last time around. So we're seeing that meteoric rise early from them. But we're also seeing it across the continent. The last couple Africa Cup of Nations, which is the continental competition to name, the best team in Africa, have been very solid competitions. It sometimes gets overlooked by European or North American writers and journalists and media.
Yeah.
But that is an incredible competition that has only been getting better and better over the past couple of years. We saw this past year in the drama going on in the final between Morocco and Senegal, and both these teams are here making a pretty good name for themselves, regardless of how this game ends for Senegal. They've made their mark on this tournament already, and Morocco as well, upsetting the Netherlands the other day.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you can see the African style of ball is very exciting to play. And I've heard some people going, "Thank goodness we're not just watching the European pass all the time, and you're getting like the speed and the showmanship a little bit more in the World Cup." All right, when we come back, we are going to break down tonight's big matchup between the U.S. and Bosnia-Herzegovina. This is the Hometown Sports Huddle. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, we're back on the Hometown Sports Huddle, everybody. Dave Walls and Zach Card over there. Zach, the ties come off. It is a little steamy back here, so again, forgive me. This show goes an hour long. I'm going to be in a T-shirt and shorts. During the break, of course, we've been talking about Belgium and Senegal. Update us on that because we saw it happen during the break, but update us on that.
Yeah, luckily we took a break so that we could talk about it a little bit after.
Didn't plan it like that, but it worked out.
Right. But yeah, so Belgium was awarded a penalty in the 120th minute, so that is essentially the last second that you could kick a ball, really, except until the ref blows the whistle for that stoppage time that he has to add on. But Yuri Telemans, who already scored, he scored the goal to tie it up in the 80-something minute. Steps up to the penalty, cool, calm, and collected, tucks it away into the top right-hand corner. Nothing the goalkeeper could do about it, and the goalkeeper dove the wrong way, too. So just a simple, clean finish for Telemans. And although referee has not blown final whistle yet, it does look like this will do it for the Senegalese and Belgian.
8 minutes of stoppage time in extra time is quite a lot, but Senegal's trying to make a last-second run here. Of course, again, like we mentioned earlier, the winner of this game meets the U.S. So it looks like, again, Belgium and U.S., or should the U.S. I don't want to jinx anything. Come on now. But, again, should the U.S. advance tonight, it looks like they would be playing Belgium. And you had mentioned a little bit of revenge here for the U.S. possibility.
Last time the U.S. were in the round of 16, which is the phase that we will play Belgium in if we win tonight. It was the extra time game. Some of you may remember Tim Howard set the World Cup record for saves in a game. I can't remember the exact number. It was like 15 or 16, maybe even 18 saves in that game. Set the record for it, and Belgium ended up winning in extra time before we got to that penalty shootout. And so this could be a good bit of revenge for the U.S. They haven't been back in the round of 16 or the knockout stages since then. The U.S. have not won a knockout stage game since 2002. So it could be the first time in 24 years that we get a American knockout stage win. Back then it was when the U.S. beat Mexico 2-0.
The famous 2-0 game.
Exactly.
Oh, I remember that one. Just because back in the day, sometimes you couldn't even really get the U.S. games depending on where you were, so you'd have to watch it on Univision. And we learned a lot of Spanish that day. We learned what it was when they were going 2-0. No, oh, such an amazing game to watch. All right, so let's talk about tonight's game then. U.S. and Bosnia-Herzegovina, whatever your accent is, 8 o'clock out at San Francisco Bay Stadium. We all know where that's out in Santa Clara. I think we have to talk about how this team is coming into this game. They're healthy. They've got, Christian Pulisic back. He played in the Turkey game. But coming off the Turkey game, 3-2 loss, there were some moments there where the U.S., again, they put 2 on the board, could have gotten some more. And the defense, I saw the second half of the game when I was traveling at the time, but the defense for the second half really gave Turkey a lot of opportunities to not only stay in it, but to eventually get the game winner down in the stretch there. What do you think about how this team is actually coming into tonight's game?
Well, I think they're coming in fairly healthy, and that's a good thing. We got the opportunity to rest a couple players, like you mentioned, against Turkey. I was actually quite surprised to see Christian Pulisic come on as a sub. I would have rested him the entire time, but it is good to see him out there able to play for some time at least. And so I do expect him to be in good shape tonight. As for the defensive woes, I guess, of this team, it is a problem that I saw coming into this tournament where we are a little bit weaker. We are a strong attack that is looking to put up points, and we're not super afraid to concede, but you got to put up the goals first. I think that for the U.S. to be successful tonight, we've got to score quickly. If we don't score in the first 30, 35 minutes, I personally will start to get a little worried because this Bosnia team set it up like a lot of the smaller European nations, very pragmatic, very defensive. They'll sit back in that 4-4-2 formation, excuse me, that's the word I'm looking for, and just absorb that pressure. So if they're able to absorb that pressure and not let a goal in through that first half, then I'm a little bit weary of the U.S.'s chances. But if the U.S. can score early, then I think they've got a good shot. But you talked about we let Turkey back in the game pretty late, and we've seen some of these other teams. Senegal let Belgium back in with 20 minutes left. Congo let England back in with 20 minutes left. So you've got to be really solid against these teams getting in late.
Speaking of the Senegal matchup, it just went final. They played 12 minutes of extra time after the 120 there, but it's Belgium 3-2 over Senegal, so Belgium does await the winner. Just wanted to update everybody on that. All right, you mentioned Tim Howard and the legendary performance he had all those years ago. In net for the U.S., how do you feel like the U.S. has been contending in net so far? Again, coming off a game where, I don't care what the sport is, if you give up the game winner to your opponent in the final seconds, that certainly doesn't feel good. And again, letting in 3 in that matchup certainly could be a cause of concern. I'm not sure, what you take away from a game like that where, again, the result didn't play into what you do in the future, but certainly you'd like to come in a little bit hotter than that. What do you think about coming off a 3-2 loss like that into the knockouts?
I'm not too concerned by that because we were resting so many players, and that's kind of more of what I expected to see out of Turkey through the whole tournament. They didn't score in their first 2 matchups, and then 3 in the next one. We got goals from their 2 young stars. That was a bit more of what I expected, and so I'm not too concerned with that finish. I think it's a little troublesome that we conceded with basically no time left to give them the win. Draw would have been a lot better in that situation from a mental going into it, how stressed are you type of point of view. But I'm not super worried about this team. I think Turkey was good enough to make it into this knockout round. They didn't have a good tournament, but I'm not very worried after that result.
On the flip side, Bosnia is a team that I'm sure that the casual fan isn't going to know a lot about. They do have an American on the Bosnian team, someone from Wisconsin, I believe, as well. But again, this is a team that has professional players. It's not like they grabbed a team of college kids to come out and play in the World Cup. What can you tell us a little bit about what Bosnia could bring that might give the U.S. some problems tonight?
Yeah, they've got two young, explosive wingers. You mentioned one of them is from Wisconsin.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this name, a Bosnian name, of course. Esmir Baraktarovic.
That sounds great to me.
Baraktarovic is from Appleton, Wisconsin, so about as American as you can get. He actually did play for the U.S. youth teams, but made his senior debut for Bosnia. I believe one of his parents has Bosnian heritage, so through that he was able to switch his sports citizenship to Bosnia and Herzegovina. But on the other side of that wing, you've got another player named Karim Alibegovic. He's also young, even younger. I believe Esmir is 21, yes. And this Karim Alibegovic kid is only 19. They play on either wing and can really do some damage, both young players. And then they're linking up with the oldest player on their team, 4-year-old Edin Dzeko, who has captained this team for 2 decades now, basically. 40 years old, playing in only his second World Cup for Bosnia. He has a World Cup goal under his belt. He's got some experience. So if they set him up well, put it on a platter for him to score, I expect him to put it away. So this defense needs to have a lot of resolve with these young wingers and this seasoned finisher.
All right. As we look forward to what the U.S. is bringing to the table tonight, we've already mentioned him, Christian Pulisic. You said you were surprised to see him back out there in Turkey. I kind of was, but I also see why they did it. You don't want him coming in cold to a knockout game, and if he can give the younger guys a little bit of a boost. But considering the field conditions the way they were against that Turkey and where everybody was slipping around on kind of wet turf, I was kind of watching, like biting my nails, like, please don't get hurt. Please don't get hurt. But, I mean, we're July 1st today. He technically hasn't played a full match since June the 12th. So tonight, what do you look from Christian? Do you look for him to really jump back in and give him a Christian Pulisic type of 90-minute match? Do you need that tonight, considering how this team is playing, or would you expect him to maybe possibly take, I don't want to say a secondary role, but certainly almost use him as a decoy in a way, and feed the ball to some other people?
I think the decoy way could work. I don't think you need to expect or it's a necessity for him to play all 90 minutes.
Right.
I think if we come out quick and fast, he needs to have a very good first half, kind of establish that pace, maybe go up a couple goals early. Like I said, I think that we have to start fast for us to have a really good chance in this game, and he'll have a big part to do with that. Now, whether Pochettino decides to use him as a decoy or as that central figure that we've seen in the past, we'll have to wait and see. I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. It's more so how he feels as a player, what he's willing to give, what he feels that he's able to give out of his tank today. So we'll see, but I do think that he needs to have a pretty good first half at least.
I think if he is at the level where athletically where he was on the 12th, because that first half of that game before he had to come out with his injury, he was dynamite in the first half. If he is back at that level, if he's shown that level of explosiveness again, I think you look for him to be front and center. I think you look to him to be that kind of, but like you said, if he's not 100%, maybe the decoy route works. Yeah. Let's see, a couple more minutes here. I think the other question I really wanted to ask you is just trying to gauge where you think this team is. That sounds like a basic question, but I ask it based off the fact that Paraguay just won, and they are now moving on, and they beat oh boy, did they beat the Netherlands or Germany?
Germany.
So many upsets,
Yeah.
so little brain space. But I mean, they beat Germany of all teams, and in a tremendous match, and they're deserving of the praise. This is a team that the U.S. waxed 4-1, and arguably was a laugher. So does that say more about where Paraguay is, or on how well this U.S. men's team could be playing coming into the knockout round tonight? I've wrestled with this question all morning long today, and then so that I think that's my question.
It's a great question, and I think you could probably look at it both ways, which is maybe not an answer the audience wants to hear, but I think it does show how solid Paraguay is in defense. We talked all about them in qualifications, barely conceding any goals, and then game one against the United States, they let up 4, make us look kind of foolish, the analyst. But then we see they can play this very defensive style of play and come out on top against one of the better teams in the world, one of the more historic footballing nations. But I also think it comes back to this U.S. team is really good. And like I said, we have to start fast. That's what we did in Paraguay or against Paraguay. Right. We started really quickly in that one, didn't let them get their defense solidified under their feet. And so I think that's got to be what our approach is to these defensive-minded teams like Bosnia, where they can shut down a team for 90 minutes and just play super defensive and absorb all that pressure, like I've said. But if you score early, a team does not have the ability to go back and sit back because they have to go forward and try and score a goal to stay in the game. So if you're able to get out on front, like against Paraguay, then I think it'll be the same for them. But yeah, I think it shows how good this U.S. team is that they were able to put 4 on Paraguay, and Germany couldn't.
All right, so with all that said, with all the opinions and all the things we talked about, got to pick a winner tonight. I need your score. What do you got?
3-1 United States.
3-1? I have 2-1. I'd love to say 3-1, but, man, like I said, if they don't score in that first 15 to 20 minutes, I think we're all going to be doing a little bit of pacing. Me in the newsroom, you wherever you're watching the game tonight. But I see this as a win, and this is a great opportunity for them to not only advance, but to get into these. I'd love to see, again, taking on a Belgium. I think that, I don't want to say it's a favorable match, but I mean, out of the remaining teams, it's certainly one of the better options for the U.S. I mean, the road has kind of laid out before them here. If you win tonight, you can go on to do some really big things and get farther than I think anyone would have given you credit for about 6 months ago. All right, well, that's it. The match is at 8 o'clock tonight. We will talk more about it, I'm sure, on the Hometown Sports Huddle tomorrow. For Zach Card, I'm Dave Walls. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.